So I have a concept for you guys to think about. This is the way I see the world moving. I've got Apple's numbers right here. Apple Computer, you guys are all familiar with them. I just got a phone call from my local cellular store. Hey Trav, come on in. We've got the iPhone 13 coming out. I'm like, really? Like the iPhone 13? Like, I don't know what I have, but I want to go back to the small one. I want to go back to like the iPhone 4, like the one that doesn't like, you know, theoretically track me everywhere I go. I don't want your iPhone 13. So anyway, in my opinion, Apple's peaked, right? Now, the company's worth $2.43 billion. So $2.4 billion. They did $142 billion in gross sales or gross net, but the gross pre-tax was $100 billion. On their balance sheet, they have $250 billion in cash equivalents. They actually have more than $250 billion. Here's my pitch. Apple is over as far as innovation. Maybe they'll innovate, maybe they'll come out with the iPhone 17, you know, but ideally, probably they've capped. And so where do they go from here? Apple could become a decentralized central bank. The Bitcoin market cap is $338 billion as of today. In theory, Apple could, and it would pump the price, so they'd have to strategically figure this out. But in theory, Apple could purchase, without issuing any debt, 1/3 of all the Bitcoin if they chose to use Bitcoin as their crypto of choice. They own the cellular devices, they own the tablets. If they ran the central banking arm of it, and I know that it's a decentralized crypto, I get it, but Bitcoin's slow and has a lot of different issues. Apple could run the secondary layer of the network, what the Bitcoin people call the lightning layer. You could have the Apple layer. My point here being is that if Apple wanted to, they could hijack the fiat financial system, and they could probably do it in 90 days, whenever they felt like it. They could work outside of any national jurisdiction, and they could set their own financial laws. They could be a lender, they could be a borrower, they could borrow in the fiat system, they could lend in the crypto system, they could create NFTs, they create platforms for the NFTs, the App Store could be the new stock market. Apple is in a position to absolutely steal the power from the central banks if they felt like it. Now, if Apple doesn't capitalize on the opportunity, somebody else in theory will as we go through this decade. My point is that this is where we're at. We're at a spot in history where sovereign individuals actually have more power than the nation state. People like Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Jack Dorsey, these individuals in many cases have more power than most branches of the government, which sounds a little ridiculous when you first hear about it. You're like, yeah, really? Yeah. Really? I mean, Jack Dorsey could shut down every single every politician. He could shut down their social media accounts immediately. He could work with his Google buddies to make sure they can't be listed there either, and no mention of them will happen. They could call up Jeff Bezos and be like, Jeff, you were in on the plan. Yeah. Jeff could shut him down at the Washington Post. And if they wanted to, they could buy out CNN and NBC, MSNBC. You guys get it. They're not even a news outlet anymore. They could buy them up if they wanted to. And we're talking 4 guys could take the entire U.S. government. Now, my buddy is like, bro, you know, they got violence on their side. They got a military on their side. Yeah, but not if they hijack the financial system. No, they don't. And so we're moving to whether, you know, they do this or not. I'm just putting that out there as an idea, hypothetical idea. First time I'm pitching it. I'll refine it a little bit. But this is a definite possibility that's going to happen in DeFi one way or another. Apple or a large company, even an Amazon, could play a major role in this, and we could pivot, particularly the Millennials and Gen Z, we could pivot out of this garbage fiat financial system and move into a crypto financial system, which our generations are going to do regardless. I mean, the dumbest thing that we could be doing, I mean, I'm in 32. The dumbest thing you could be doing right now is buying the S&P at all-time highs. Oh, dollar cost average into your Roth IRA. It'll grow tax-free until you're 59 and a half. Of course, if we change the rules, it is what it is. Like, really? Do you really think that the US dollar is going to be here when I'm 59 and a half? Like, in the current form that it's at? Like, do you think it's going to have any real value? Like, no. I'd be much better off just buying Bitcoin and locking it away and then utilizing Bitcoin to partake into buying into decentralized platforms as they arise. And when I buy into these decentralized platforms, they issue coins, basically shares of stock, if you will. And there's a protocol that issues how many shares of stock can exist. So we can just migrate over and move equities on over into a tokenized manner, which at some point, all assets are going to ultimately be tokenized. And even creators in this space, I can come out with a course and go, hey guys, I'm going to sell 1,000 copies of this product. And this product gives you certain rights and incentives. So you can have creators, guys like Gary Vee, who may release their next book and a NFT, a non-fungible token, and be like, hey, if you buy it in an NFT people have, special privileges to the Gary Vee book club, whatever that may be. The Securities and Exchange Commission doesn't even have this on their radar, much less the ability to create legislation in time to regulate this in any manner possible. So where we're going is this is going to happen, and this is going to happen very quickly. Companies like Apple, Amazon, Twitter, Elon, these guys can expedite this and actually take over the entire system whenever they feel like it. They're just playing ball and being nice for now. But as our government starts to literally unwind, and we kind of see this, we have 4 suicided capital cops now, 4. As it starts to unwind, and they just get dumber and dumber. I mean, they're not even creative anymore. You couldn't get any of them in a car accident. I mean, come on. They're not even creative. But as this starts to occur, the sovereign individuals, people like Musk, Dorsey, Bezos, these individuals, and you would think microprocessing will allow this to not only just be for the billionaires, but then the millionaires, and then eventually just the well-to-do, and then eventually the common man. The nation state will have to renegotiate terms because the power is not with the nation state as it always has been, because they have a monopoly on force. The power is actually with these sovereign individuals who have a massive audience, build product and technology, and at any point in time can change the entire game whenever they want. But I'm pointing out that a company like Apple quite literally could, if they wanted to, own a third of the Bitcoin network. They could run all their devices and turn them into nodes, miners, whatever. They could run any apps they wanted to. They build the devices. And they could literally hijack the financial system. And if they wanted to, issue tax or fees on those transactions. And obviously they would need customer buy-in, so it would be a better deal than that of the nation state. My buddies that object go, well, dude, the nation state has a military. They do until they can't fund it anymore. And then the military is up for grabs. Do you guys want to get paid in Bitcoin? Great. You're working for Apple or whoever. Although I think it's more likely that it'll just devolve. And there's a great book called Diamond Age. I'll link to those 2 books. The Sovereign Individual, written in 99. Freaking right on track. Nailing 2021. They nailed it. And the Diamond Age, which is a very interesting, futuristic novel about a society that has organized itself into files. Basically, it's post-nation state. The nation state has died off because they effectively lost their tax base. And so what I'm outlining here is that there are companies that exist that could do this and actually compete with what we now know as the nation state. I think this is going to happen over the next decade and a half, 2 decades, regardless. And so I think that when we look back at this 20 years from now, we won't recognize the current nation state whatsoever, especially because they've literally blown all their chips. Nobody trusts any 3-letter organization. I mean, my own parents are like, hey, if any of these people ever show up to your door, politely ask them to leave and do not talk to them. And it's like, no kidding, I got it. But when they were kids, they would remind us when we were kids, they were so majestic. These organizations were something you wanted to aspire to work for, and They've lost it, and they're going to continue to lose it. And as they continue to lose it, these sovereign individuals are going to more than capitalize on it. And in many ways, I definitely think they will eventually become their own central banks, if you will, but a decentralized manner. But essentially, they could run the entire game and take the power of fiat away from the current nation state, at which point they can print as much paper as they want, but it'll lose all of its value, and therefore they'll lose their tax base. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Please like these videos and subscribe if you have not.